How to stop thinking negative thoughts. Hey everyone, it's Gareth Flood here, and today I'm going to show you a couple of techniques for how you can stop thinking negative thoughts. Now, let's first talk a little bit about why do we have negative thoughts. And everyone has them. It's completely natural. But they can be a real drain on productivity, your life, your relationships, and getting your goals. So why do we have them? Well, essentially, it's your brain trying to protect you. I know that sounds a bit weird, but your brain's only function is to keep you alive. That's it. It doesn't matter how it does that. It's not interested in how it does that. It's just to keep you alive. And one of the ways it does that is by dialing up negative thoughts, which can then translate into things like, anxiety. And why? If you look at how we've evolved, we've spent 1 million years out in the wilderness in small tribes. Look out, saber-toothed tiger, look out, predators, oh, ice age is coming, etc., etc. All to keep you alive. So your brain is not there to make you happy. It doesn't want to make you happy. It's just running code. It's running software that's been there for millions of years, right? And the second part is where you grew up, your household environment, the culture you live in, the country you live in, is also going to dial up levels of anxiety, security, etc., etc. So that's the second thing. You're fighting what's DNA encoded, as well as your environment growing up, which might also mean, if you're not as secure, you potentially have more negative thoughts. But everyone has them to a certain level. Nobody likes them. So when you have a negative thought, how do you deal with this? And what sparked this was a conversation with a friend recently where they're just having more and more negative thoughts. Anxiety is getting ratcheted up. So I went back through my files and some of the things I used, and I've started using this again, and it really works. So 2 techniques. The first technique, and this is also practical psychology, is another note. You can easily go deep down the rabbit holes of personal development, psychology. Not all of it works. So the only things I will recommend is stuff that I've seen proven. It works for me. It works for people I've recommended. But there's some credence to it, and it has to be practical. It has to be something that will actually work rather than just more psychological theory. So the first technique is this. What is this? It is a simple rubber band. So what do you do with it? This technique, put it on your wrist. This technique, to give credit where credit's due, I actually got from this book, The Gladiator Mindset by Peaty. I started reading this book recently. It was a gift for my birthday, and I'm only like halfway through it, but it is full of just knowledge bombs and real wisdom for somebody so young. And Peaty, if you haven't heard from him, he's a swimmer. He is an 8-time world champion, 16-time European champion, 3-time Commonwealth champion, has to date broken 14 records. He's the current world record holder in both the 50 and 100 meter breaststroke events. He's the 2-time 100 meter breaststroke Olympic champion, which is all cool, but listen to this. He's the only current world record holder who is more than 1% faster than the next best athlete in his event. And if you know anything about professional sports, where the differences between winning and losing and winning and the best and the very best is like 0.1, 0.001%, the margins are tiny. So this guy is like 1% faster than the next person in his event. Just astonishing. So give credit where credit's due. I'm sure he probably didn't invent this himself. He got it from somewhere, but he's collected a lot of his thoughts and things that help him. So yeah, get this book. All my best friends are getting this book for birthdays and Christmas this year. It's a great read, full of practical psychology and stuff. So what he shared in this book was this tip: get a rubber band, and every time you have a negative thought, what do? You snap the band. It hurts, right? So what does this do? Negative thought, snap the band. It hurts. Neuro Associative Conditioning. It's associating negative thought to pain. Because of the code in your brain, what does your brain not like? Your brain doesn't like pain. Most of what your brain does is to move you away from pain and into comfort. This is why you move away very quickly from things that are painful and you seek comfort. The downside of that algorithm is, of course, it's also hard to move beyond comfort. Once you're comfortable, it's hard to move on to like really greatness. You have to push on beyond the comfort. But that is a topic for another entire video. So you snap the band, you feel pain, your brain associates, I don't like pain, negative thought equals pain. So you start to associate negative thoughts is painful, and your body and your brain doesn't like that. Your body associates, it does the association linked up in your brain. So that's the first thing. Every time you have a negative thought, bang, does two things. You snap, you feel pain, it associates pain to a negative thought, but it also interrupts the thought. It snaps you out of the thought. So if you're stuck, I'm just having a negative thought, bang, you do that, you're no longer thinking about the negative thought. It makes space, which is kind of what meditation does as well. It just makes space in the relentless stream of thoughts of your brain trying to keep you alive. So if your brain is just running software code and algorithms, you've interrupted. The only way you can stop it running the code, it's like you type in a command on your computer, you hit enter, the software is just going to execute that command. You're interrupting the software is the first thing, and you make space. Now the second thing to do is, if you've made space, then you're a bit like a blank slate, you're a blank sheet. How do you replace that blank space with something positive? That's the key thing. So you can either do some mantras, you can repeat things lots of times to yourselves, but what I found really useful, what works for me, is you now install the second technique I will talk about, which is called, it's a neuro-linguistic programming technique, or NLP. So again, this is a system with a lot of history and a lot of resources and study behind it. So it's an NLP technique, and it's called the Swish pattern. Okay, so let me write that down for you. So again, this is not something that I have come up with. You can Google it, you can YouTube it. There's a ton of stuff on the Swish pattern. And I actually came to this one through Tony Robbins. He did it at a couple of events, and I've seen him do it a number of times as well. So how it basically works is, I'm not going to do it, I'm not qualified, but I will point you in directions of resources to do it. But the basic thought is, you have a negative thought, which is normally big and bright in your mind, at the front of your mind, and you have how you want to be. So say you feel weak and anxious, and that's a big and colorful picture in your mind. You take how you want to be in the future. I want to be, strong, powerful, confident, and not doing this negative thing or this negative thinking or trait. And you basically take that big bright picture, and you take this one, and you swish them. You switch them, or he calls them whoosh. So you take the small picture, you zoom it up, you make it big and bright, boom, and you explode the negative picture with a big and bright picture of the behavior and the thinking and how you want to feel and be. So strong, confident, in charge, doing positive things, not doing negative habits, etc., etc. And that's it. And you do that over and over again, attaching lots of emotion and intensity to it. And what does that do? It also switches the pattern, right? It replaces the negative thought with a positive thought, and you do that over and over again. So these two combined, practical psychology, I found works very well. You snap yourself out of the state, you associate pain to negative thoughts, that leaves a space. How do I fill that space with a positive thought? You take what you want to feel and be doing, and boom, you make that big and bright and bold, replace smashing the negative thought over and over again. So I will drop a link in the description below. If you click on the link below to some resources to find the NLP Swish pattern, you can find registered NLP practitioners, or I will drop a link to this Tony Robbins video that I found, and I'll also show you the video. So this video is 80s Tony back in the day with the hair, watching Dallas, etc. And he'll take you through how he does it. So with that, take it away, 80s Tony.
Make a new trigger for yourself. It's called a swish pattern. And what a swish pattern is about is basically getting your mind and your emotions to move in a direction so you begin to feel differently and behave differently. So you make a picture in your mind of something you presently don't like, either something you're afraid of or maybe a behavior pattern of something you don't like. For example, for me, I made a picture in my mind of bringing my fingers up to my mouth to bite my fingernails, which I was doing all the time. So in my mind, I just closed my eyes and saw this picture of my bringing my hand up. Then what you do is you imagine in this big picture of what you don't want, you make a small little picture of what you do want. In the bottom right-hand corner, you make a small little picture, in my case, of seeing myself dressed really well, being in a situation where I was lecturing, being where I felt really proud of myself, and seeing myself in a position where my fingernails were normal, where they were manicured, where they were taken care of, where I wasn't biting them. But I associated those ideas to something I'd be really proud of myself as a speaker, a communicator, helping people, and looking really professional. So then all you do is you do a linkage, where what you see is you see what you don't want, you see what you do want, and you watch them switch, where you take this small little picture and you do this thing we call a whoosh pattern or swish pattern, where you actually reach out with your hand and feel as if you're pulling this little picture up, and it gets bigger and bigger and brighter until it literally explodes through what you don't want. So what's in front of you is a big, bright, colorful picture of what you do want. In my case, myself looking good, lecturing, and being proud of myself, and also noticing, hey, my nails are great too.
So I hope you find that useful. 2 elements of practical psychology. 1, the band snap on negative thoughts. 2, the swish pattern. And if you do this consistently, do it for a month every time you have negative thoughts, you will over time rewrite your code, your software code in your brain to focus on more positive things. So implement them and let me know how you get on with the results. Drop something in the comment below. Was that helpful even for like initially, or if you did it over time, did you feel your code being rewritten? Did you feel more positive, or at least you're able to stop those negative thoughts? So drop some comments in the below and a like if this was helpful, and I'll continue posting stuff on personal development and also mindset that has certainly helped me in my career and life over time. So thank you very much, and I will see you soon.